Hello world, hello friends. As I'm gonna add this is an addendum, a follow-up on the video I made about AI. I'm gonna expand it. Actually, there are new ideas and so on that were in my mind, but they didn't cross my mind or were present in my mind yesterday as I recorded the first video. So here goes. Now, some of you may argue that AI will increase knowledge and be a tool for science and knowledge and so on. No, that's not true, folks. What it will do is it will degenerate the human brain, human mind into a lethargic state. It'll drive us into a lethargic state and immobile. So now if you have, say, 50% of the population as couch potatoes, now you'll probably have 90% or even more. And maybe that's the purpose of it, is to reduce the population from 8 billion into 1 billion per malthus, like this new world and stuff like that. So that's a possibility, but consider someone who is unable to have to think, right? Stay as a repetitive tasks type job and so on, and eventually that will be taken over by AI and and so on and so forth. You can formulate or draw a picture, conclude from this to how dangerous it is. You may say, well, we had to invent the calculator and it was good. Sure, sure, sure. And the calculator was good and bad because now we used to know how to calculate by hand, right? And then use our brain to do the calculations, but then keep the results at hand because our memory and our processing engine, they have a little bit of a deficiency in total communications. And so we're not electronic in our form, right? But then now go ask all people. They may know how to do addition and subtraction, but ask them to do the next stage or next level of mathematics, which is division and multiplications. It's harder, right? Especially divisions, right? There are remainders and right? So it was good, and it was it allowed us to think outside elsewhere. But now AI is different. AI will take over the main functions of our efforts to continue living and to like hard work and hard thinking and faith and so on is really entertainment, right? It keeps us busy, it keeps us alive, it keeps us viable. That said, that is true. So that's point number one. I may do more videos, as a matter of fact, as we go along. The physical part of it, as I explained yesterday, EMF and whatnot, right, is very valid. It's valid. It could be verified, and so on and so forth. And now that said, let's go back to the conceptual concept or conceptual part of it, and that is the virtualization of the human being. Consider that yourself, you're not a robot, right? And you could never become a robot being a human being like myself and so on and so forth. Why? Because your brain, internal brain, will always run and cycles and create virtual CPUs and thoughts and memory and so on, like it or not. That's our what we call unconscious, right? I call them the substratums. I explained those in my other videos about supplements and so on. That you cannot control. That is always spinning, always churning new ideas, always working out solutions and formulations and additions and compositions and so on. As we human beings think, that our unconscious is always doing that, folks. And one thing I didn't mention, I knew way in the past, but I read later that it has been mentioned by someone else. And that's Carl Jung, right? However, Carl Jung is not the first one to talk about it. The first I noticed this later, of course, is really in Islam, in the Quran, right? And that's the collective unconscious. We're all related to each other, like it or not. And I mentioned that in one of my videos, that you could be sitting in a bar, right, with other people, and even if you're not talking, those unconscious are talking, right? And then we don't notice. Yes, they do. As a matter of fact, they give each other information and updates and so on and so forth. You just don't notice. You'll never notice, in fact, unless you really have a depth into the unconscious, right? Then you begin to notice. So what they're going to do is virtualize you. So now you're working with this, right? This your Doppelgänger, your virtual self. Now you're a person here, and then you're a person here, right? And then if you're traveling, there are those cars that are collecting information and controlling your device, your virtual device, right? And then that goes in turn links up to those AI data centers, right? That's why they want to put it within the cities. And again, I'm gonna pose the question to you once more. Why would they want to put these data centers, these humongous problematic data centers in cities and urban areas and so on? Why not just go outside? Well, there has to be a reason, right? And that's the reason I'm telling you about, is because they're totally in control of your devices, as well as the cars, those cars that run around you and so on. And they're like a step toward other things, such as mobiles, such as Starlinks and so on. Now there's something else. What if somebody puts a chip in your brain, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? Then it's not just that. There's the moving rickshaws, electric rickshaws, and then there's the data center, and what else there's going on, right? So, oh boy, you can travel wherever you want to, and they read you, right? They know where you are, and they read you, and so on and so forth. Now, AI takes tyranny, right, and communism, virtual communism, a step further, right? Now they know your financial situation, right? What you're spending on, and so on and so forth. And AI may just, because you're not of certain religion or whatever it is, may flag you as so and so, right? A menace, or as a dangerous object. And guess what? You know what? Those movies that you look at that are fictional about, like 1984 listening on you for the TV and so on. I'm telling you, folks, I know this for certain. While you're watching the TV is watching you, and it goes way beyond that, right? So this is a new world, folks. This is a new world. You Americans, at least I'm saying Americans and Europeans and so on. When you went to World War II and World War I and wars in the Middle East and Asia and here and there, you were killing and getting killed of your own kind to strengthen and allow for the devil to establish itself through those things, right? Uh, oh, let's restart. They're listening on me. They just saw what I did. I am personally not concerned about that, and if you're not concerned, you better speak your mind, and you better you better spread this and share it, right? Basically, you're going to be virtualized, and right now, right as we speak now, you are virtualized. There is a virtual you anywhere else, right? And I mentioned that bank that opened accounts on in your name, in people's name, and they didn't know it, and they got away with it scot-free. Slap on the back of the wrist. Communications frequencies is like fog. You can't, if as I demonstrated in the previous video, you can just open it a little bit, and the communication Bluetooth link will re-establish, right? We will relink, right? So you really need to use the method I showed you yesterday. Plus, if you can get acrylic material is really the material that is built static, that sometimes when you get close to it shocks you and so on and so forth, right? Or the material that keeps the fridge temperature cold inside the fridge, right? That plastic looking material, that is a good thing. I do not know about the Faraday material, Faraday material. Check that out. If you test, you may really come to realize that's what it is. People, let me talk about Trump. Like I said, when Trump said that he will take care of elections, right? Let's see. Uh-oh. Ominous. Let me see what that is. Now, I was not really ominous. Sorry. I got carried away and spoke. I have those here. I used to be a weightlifting guy. In the 80s, I used to go to a club in Houston and lift weight and so on. So I became musclesome. But when I left it, afterwards, I still have those boob-looking things. They're not really big, but I'm fine. Uh, so uh, so that said, that said, when Trump uh, was running for office the second time around, he talked about election and he said you don't have to vote anymore and so on and so forth. Right? Do you remember that? You remember that? You don't have to. He said you don't have to vote. We'll take care of that and so on. So they were in preparations for such thing. Why do you think you don't have to vote? He's going to cancel the election? Maybe not. Maybe he will vote for you. That's why when he went into office this time around, he immediately paid $500 billion for $500 billion for AI, right? $500 billion for AI. Well, maybe now AI is going to vote for you while you do not even know it. Get it? You see all this game that is going on. If you're really American and you think you have good deal with Trump and so on and so forth, oh boy, oh boy, you guys are being used heavily, similar to those Alawites of Syria. The Alawites of Syria were used to mass murder people, right? Right and left, and I mean, these guys were animals. Let's put it this way. Excuse me for a second. All right, so as you can see, AI apparently, was one of the milestones of the corner elements of a foundation of his presidency. Now AI is. So he said we'll take care of that, right? You're not gonna vote. So what do you think is gonna happen? Even if it goes on, this is gonna vote for you, right? On your behalf. You can vote all you want to, and so on, to whoever you want to. It won't matter anymore. Let me tell you something, you Trumpians. Obama and Trump are joined at the hip, and you got lucky that Biden came in the middle between them. You really got lucky. Uh, by Allah, you got lucky. But it seems like you don't understand what you're doing. I'm going to tell you this, you MAGAs, you will be the first to be taken down. Gradually and systematically, you will be sized down, you will be taken down completely, right? So AI, you don't know what AI is, folks. You don't know what AI is. You do not know what AI is. And now it's in its infancy. When it's fully fledged, even those who shouldered the function, who shouldered the process and carried out the process of establishing AI and building it, will suffer. They will suffer. You guys, you don't understand artificial intelligence as I do. You don't understand as much as I do. Now you may say, it could be controlled, it could be, has checks and balances and so on. Don't kid yourself, folks. Don't kid yourselves. You will be so hung to it, you will be so dependent on it that even if things went bad, you cannot turn it down because it'll spell your end, right? And then that's it, right? This is similar to a child, an infant suckling from its mother, right? If the mother, if he decides to, he cannot, or the child, the baby, cannot disconnect from its mother, it's going to die from hunger, right? And so on and so forth. Take my advice, folks, whoever you are. Don't allow this AI to rear its ugly head. No. Turn it down. Not try to control it or anything else. Just completely deny it and decline it, right? Stop it right now and stop everything that you're doing. Remember my words, right? I gave you a couple of advices before, health-wise and, and things of the sort. I don't hold anything back from you guys, my humans, all right? So these are two good points, right? Like the presidency and now, the five-horn beast on top of the arch of Trump and whatever it is. You guys see what's coming, don't you? Right? That Netanyahu, folks, is this Judaism thing, folks. This is just a misnomer. It's not what it is. Yeah, I'm lecturing you on that, right? This is something from Asia, right? I don't know where it came from, right? But it's something from Asia, and you get the lower ranks believing in Judaism and all that stuff, anti-Semitism and whatnot, right? But what's controlling is really not from you, is really not you. I likened the Jews to the children of Israel as my children on my screensaver here. So they show up, and I liken the Jews to the children of or the Israelites, like the Shiites to the Sunnis or Muslims, right? Because the Shiites are, you know, three flips, right? I don't know why they do that. This one here, this one here, and this one here. This is 1001 night, right? 1001 night. And you have to see the guy in the back. Remember what's his name? Big Brother hiding that thumb back there and showing the four, right? And they show that. I think that's Shakina or something of the sort, right? Take my advice, folks. You don't want to continue that path of something called Judaism. This is a new thing, right? It's much of it, historically speaking, is taken from Islam. The oldest Jewish manuscript, is 8th and 9th century, and it's all taken from Islam, especially the history of Moses and Joseph and the Israelites, right? And during the time of Muhammad, and the evidence in the Quran, actually, it states it right there and then, that the Torah was extinct. And then I do recall reading somewhere or hearing somewhere or something like that, not from me, that during the Babylon diaspora or somewhere else, that the Torah was really missing or was extinct for 350 years. So someone just came and said, here's your Torah. He wrote it himself. And that's not the one that you have now, or the one that was missing during the time of Muhammad. What was there during the time of Muhammad is some oral tradition, right? And some parchments, but not exactly anything that has substantial value. These guys have oral tradition, and they're like beehive, right? Or a colony of ants, right? It's that tribal thing, and Arabs had it too, but different, of course. The tribe is like a beehive, right? And that's why those people, they wanted to rule. I hear of Tartaria, right? The conspiracy of Tartaria. There's something there. I always thought there's something there that came from the east, right? And that's the Mongols, not all the Mongols. The Mongols of today are my people, right? They're Muslims and so on. And some of me, probably being from Syria, is Turkic, Mongol, or Tatar, right? And they're all Muslims. But those original ones who came through, they're described as being Jewish, right? Things are not so clear back then, but there seems to be something from the East that is not exactly so clear or so good, right? And that said, I don't know. I mean, something is that core of Shrek you will never arrive at, right? I do have good vision of it, but not full vision of it, right? And that's right now something is using Judaism, something called Judaism. My concern is go join your humanity, not your Judaism. The only thing that throughout my career, right, or my life, and there was a time here in the United States when I disregarded what I learned when I was young, and I even went to Utah to join the Mormons and so on and so forth. I found some negative aspects to it. I found some positive aspects to it, and when I was when I went there, and the negative aspects are not what you think that I found. For example, there was like a Rio Grande or Rio mall that is closed, and then there's like this huge square in front of it, and there was so many homeless people, young people. I was like disturbed. You guys are speak of billions and so on and so forth, and you can't take care of that in your very own backyard in that city. Like, where's your humanity? That was one of the negative aspects. Before that, before I began to witness what's going on in Utah, right? And I noticed also the Hebrew background to it, right? Basically, I looked at their literature and catechism and so on, and I planned on, if I joined that religion of the Mormons, I was gonna reformat the whole thing, produce some miraculous books and so on for them, and just lift the whole thing up, right? But then when I saw these things, I knew I was wasting my time. 3 months later, I just departed. So as you can see, I myself has considered that before. Not that I'm stuck with Islam because that's how I was raised about it, but what I know about Islam, Sunni Islam, qualified me to go back to it. By Allah, it's the best that I've seen so far. The practice of Islam, the faith, and it makes you so powerful and strong, right? And it entertains you no matter what situation you are in, or your situation, how dire your situation is, how troubled your life is, and so on. It keeps you alive and running, right? And willing, and it's very powerful. Once it sinks in the soul, it's very powerful, but it will not share, right? So it's like a pot plant. That's the only plant can live in the pot. If you plant anything else, seen or unseen, it'll wilt and die, right? So I went back to Sunni Islam. That's basic and simple. That's it, right? Nothing else in my heart. And that keeps me, I'm willing to spin my wheels and churn and so on and so forth, and until, even if one nerve of me is left functioning, that's what I will do. I rediscovered the good things, right? So that's my point about this virtualization things. This electronic thing, from whenever it was created and discovered, some of it is good, yes, but many of it is bad, right? So now what happens is this Trump, Putin, the Ayatollahs, and the Netanyahu above them, right? And there are plenty that you do not know about. The Jabotinskis, I call them, and so on and so forth. These guys are misguided. They're dysfunctional, right? And they want to put the world back into Animal Farm and so on. Why you want to put the world back into Animal Farm? Aren't you part of this world as well? I mean, don't you want to leave room for yourself to feel and be human? Because that's how you become healthy, right? So AI, I can describe it here. Physically speaking, it's problematic, especially that EMF. EMF, you may underestimate what I'm saying. Oh, no, no, no. Go research it. I gave you some evidence. But the virtual side of it, you're virtualized. As of now, you're virtualized, and by the time those new phones are coming out, and those data centers are up, and those rickshaws are electric rickshaws that keeps running here and there, they go like run around, come back and forth, right? They're not like going from work back to home, from home to work and back to home again. No, they just keep running around. While I'm not walking, I keep noticing some of them just make circles, right? Circuit, go back and forth, and so on and so forth. And of course, the war, obviously, I heard this yesterday, is like 9/11. Some people started sell is that like short sale, or short on the stock market, right? Before even the war started, and there's no war really. This is also collecting money from your gas, from your pocket, for those spoiled brats that don't know shit, right? And making them super billionaires. They just can't get enough, What do you do with all that? I mean, just give me a break. So now they want to force you also to buy a rickshaw. Electric rickshaw. The United States rickshaw. Electric rickshaw. Couple of electric motors and some plastic and a little bit frame and big lithium battery, right? That doesn't go long, and if it's too cold, it won't do anything, right? All right, babies, brothers, friends, and so on. By Allah, really, I mean, before you just hate me for it, just consider what I'm saying. Some people may tell you not to listen to me. Oh, you better listen. Oh, you better listen. If you want your generations and later generations of posterity to survive. Oh, by Allah. Have a nice day, friends, neighbors, enemies alike. Yeah. Take care now. Bye now.